The lights went out at exactly 9:47 p.m. on August 14th, 2003. I remember the exact time because I was watching the clock, waiting for my shift to end at the gas station where I worked nights. I was 22, living in Detroit, working overnight at this Shell station on 8 Mile Road to pay my way through community college. The job was boring but easy. Stock shelves, ring up customers, clean the bathrooms, stay awake until 6 a.m. That night started normal. A few customers, some truckers, people buying cigarettes and energy drinks. Then at 9:47 p.m., everything went black. The lights, the pumps, the registers, the coolers, everything. I stood there behind the counter in complete darkness, waiting for the backup generator to kick in. It did not kick in. I pulled out my phone to use as a flashlight, walked to the front window, looked outside. The street lights were out. The traffic lights were out. Every building I could see was dark. This was not just our gas station. This was everything. I tried calling my manager. Phone did not work. Tried calling 911. Nothing. The landline in the office was dead too. I was completely alone. In a gas station. In the dark. On 8 Mile Road. If you know Detroit, you know 8 Mile is not a safe area. Especially at night. Especially during a blackout when nobody can call for help. I locked the front doors. Stood behind the counter. Waited. Maybe 10 minutes passed. Then I heard it. Someone trying the front door. Pulling on the handle. Rattling it. I called out, "We are closed. Power is out." The person did not respond. Just kept pulling on the door. Then I heard glass breaking. Not the front door. Somewhere else. Maybe the side window. I grabbed the baseball bat we kept under the counter. Moved toward the sound. The side window had been smashed. Someone was climbing through. I yelled, "I have a weapon. Get out." They did not get out. They kept climbing through. I could see their silhouette in the moonlight from the window. Then another person started climbing through behind them. I backed up. Moved behind the counter again. Held the bat ready. The first person walked toward me. Slow. Not running. Just walking. I could not see their face. Too dark. But I could see their outline. Male. Tall. Wearing a hoodie. I yelled again. "Get out, or I will call the cops." The person laughed. Said the phones do not work. Said nobody is coming. He was right. The second person was moving through the store now too. Going toward the beer cooler. The cigarettes. The first guy kept walking toward me. Got within maybe 10 feet of the counter. I raised the bat. Told him to stop. He did not stop. He reached the counter. Started to come around it. I swung the bat. Hit him in the shoulder. Not hard enough to knock him down, but hard enough to hurt. He stumbled back. Swore. Then lunged at me. We struggled. He grabbed the bat. Tried to pull it away. I held on. Then I heard the second guy yelling. Telling his friend to forget about me. To just grab stuff and go. The first guy let go of the bat. Backed off. Went to help his friend load up bags with merchandise. They took beer, cigarettes, lottery tickets, candy, whatever they could carry. Then they left through the broken window. I stood there shaking, heart pounding, bat still in my hands. I waited maybe 5 more minutes. Then I left too. Locked the front door behind me. Walked to my car. Drove home. The power did not come back on until the next afternoon. 36 hours later. When I came back for my next shift 2 days later, the manager asked what happened. Why the window was broken. Why so much stuff was missing. I told him. He did not seem surprised. Said the same thing happened at 3 other locations that night. He said I should have just let them take what they wanted. Should not have tried to stop them. I quit 2 weeks later. Because every time I worked a night shift after that, I kept thinking about those 2 guys. About how easy it was for them to break in. About how nobody could call for help. About how next time I might not be so lucky. I was 16 when Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans. My family lived in the 9th Ward. My mom, my dad, my little sister, me. We did not evacuate. My dad said we would be fine. Said we had been through hurricanes before. Said this one would not be any different. He was wrong. The storm hit on August 29th, 2005. Monday morning, around 6 a.m. The power went out almost immediately. Then the water started rising. First it came up through the floor, then through the walls. Then it was waist deep, then chest deep. We went upstairs, took what we could carry: food, water, flashlights, my dad's gun. We waited on the second floor, listening to the wind, listening to the water rising. By noon the water was at the top of the stairs. My dad said we needed to get on the roof. Before the water got too high, we climbed out the window, onto the roof, sat there in the rain, watching our neighborhood disappear under brown water. Houses floating by, cars submerged, bodies floating face down. We waited for rescue. Nobody came. The storm passed. The rain stopped. But the water did not go down. We spent that night on the roof. No food, no water, just us and the darkness. My dad kept saying someone would come. The National Guard, the Coast Guard, somebody. Nobody came. The second day was worse. The sun was brutal. No shade. We were sunburned, dehydrated, hungry. My little sister was crying, asking when we could go home, asking when someone would help us. My mom had no answers. That night we heard noises, people in boats, moving through the flooded streets. My dad stood up, waved his arms, yelled for help. The boat came closer. It was not rescue. It was looters. 3 men in a small fishing boat, going house to house, taking whatever they could find. They saw us on the roof, saw we had bags, probably thought we had valuables. One of them yelled up asking what we had. My dad said nothing, just food and water. The man said to throw it down. My dad said no. The man pulled out a gun, said throw it down or we will come up there and take it. My dad pulled out his gun too, said try it. They stared at each other. Nobody moved. Then one of the other men in the boat said forget it. Too much trouble. Let them starve. They moved on, left us alone. We did not sleep that night. My dad stayed up with his gun, watching, waiting for them to come back. They did not come back. Rescue came on the 3rd day. A boat with actual National Guard. They took us to the Superdome. The Superdome was hell. Thousands of people. No power. No air conditioning. No working toilets. People dying. People fighting. People stealing. Total chaos. We stayed there for 5 days before they finally put us on a bus to Houston. We never went back to New Orleans. There was nothing to go back to. Our house was destroyed. Everything we owned was gone. But the worst part was not losing our house. It was those 3 days on the roof, waiting for help that did not come, watching bodies float by, wondering if we would die there, and those men in the boat, with the gun, ready to kill us for a couple bags of supplies. That is what I remember most about Katrina. Not the storm, not the flood, the darkness after, when the power went out, when the rules stopped mattering, when people showed you who they really were. I live in Texas, small town outside Houston. Population maybe 3,000. February 2021, we had this freak winter storm. Temperatures dropped below zero. Snow and ice everywhere. The power went out on February 15th, Monday morning. Around 2 a.m. I woke up freezing. The heat was off. The lights were off. Everything was off. I checked my phone. No service. No internet. Nothing. I got up, put on every layer of clothing I owned. Went to check on my grandmother, who lived with me. She was 87. Needed oxygen at night. The oxygen machine ran on electricity. When the power went out, the machine stopped working. She was okay for now, but I knew she would not last long without it. I tried the landline. Dead. Tried my phone again. Still no service. I decided to drive to the hospital. Get help. I went outside. My car was covered in ice. The doors were frozen shut. I spent 20 minutes trying to get the door open. Finally got inside. Car would not start. Battery was dead. I went back inside. Tried to think. My neighbor had a truck. Maybe it would start. I walked next door. Knocked. Nobody answered. I looked in the window. He was there, asleep on the couch. I knocked louder. He woke up, came to the door. I explained the situation, asked if he could drive my grandmother to the hospital. He said no. Said he was not going anywhere in this weather. Too dangerous. I begged him. Told him she would die without oxygen. He said that was not his problem. Closed the door in my face. I walked back home. Grandmother was struggling to breathe now. Getting worse. I wrapped her in blankets. Tried to keep her warm. But the house was getting colder by the hour. The temperature outside was 5 degrees. Inside it was maybe 35 and dropping. I knew we had maybe a few hours before hypothermia set in. I decided to walk to town. Find help. It was 3 miles. But I had no choice. I told grandmother to stay put. Stay warm. I would be back with help. I started walking. The ice was everywhere. I slipped twice. Almost broke my ankle. The wind was brutal, cutting through every layer of clothing. I walked for maybe an hour. Got about halfway to town. That is when I saw them. 2 trucks parked on the side of the road. Men standing around a fire in a barrel. I walked toward them. Asked if they had a phone that worked. Asked if they could help. They looked at me. One of them said phones are down. Towers are frozen. I explained about my grandmother. Asked if one of them could drive me back home. Help me get her to the hospital. They said no. Said roads are too dangerous. Said they were not risking their trucks. I offered them money. $50. $100. Whatever they wanted. They said no. I started crying. Begging. My grandmother was dying. One of them finally said fine. $200. Cash. I said yes. Anything. He said show me the money first. I did not have it on me. I said I would pay when we got back to my house. He said no deal. Money first. I tried to explain. He did not care. I kept walking. Got to town around noon. Found the fire station. They were running on generators. Lights were on. I ran inside. Told them about my grandmother. They said they would send someone, but it might take a while. They had a lot of calls. I waited 30 minutes. Nobody came. I asked again. They said they were doing their best. Lots of emergencies. They would get to it. I waited another 30 minutes. Finally, an ambulance left. I got in with them. Showed them where I lived. We got back to my house around 2 p.m. For hours after I had left. My grandmother was still alive. Barely. Lips were blue. She was not responding. They got her in the ambulance. Took her to the hospital. She survived. Spent 2 days in the hospital before they released her. But I will never forget those 4 hours. Walking through the ice. Begging strangers for help. And I will never forget my neighbor. Who could have helped but chose not to. Or those men by the fire. Who wanted money before they would lift a finger. The power came back on 3 days later. But I saw something during those 3 days that I cannot unsee. I saw how quickly people stop caring about each other when things get bad. How quickly survival becomes the only thing that matters. And how easily someone can die just because nobody wants to help. If these stories disturbed you, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Drop a comment below and tell me about your own power outage experiences. Have you ever been in a situation where the lights went out and things got dangerous? Let me know. And if you want more true horror stories like these, I have got plenty more to share. Until next time, stay safe out there. And maybe invest in a generator. You never know when you might need it.